Hello again. Welcome back to week 30 of year 5 of the Religious Education Initiative. This is day 2. As we move past the midpoint of Great Lent and approach Holy Week, we are going to take the next couple weeks to read aloud the Akathist hymn. As is well known, the Akathist hymn is so called because everyone stands and does not sit during the exclamation and proclamation of the 4 stanzas. I don't know if it's well known or not, actually, but it's written by, it's attributed to St. Romanos the Melodist. So we read 1 stanza each week for 4 weeks, and then on the 5th Friday of Great Lent, we read the entire Akathist hymn at once. In all of this, we are meditating through the poetry of the Akathist hymn upon the incarnation of the Lord, with our focus on the vessel of his incarnation, his all-holy mother, the Theotokos and ever-Virgin Mary. The other thing to pay attention to is there's actually an acrostic. It runs, I believe, through the alphabet in the alternation of the ikos is the iki and the kondakia. So anyway, we begin with the first kondakion. O champion general, I, your city, now inscribe to you triumphant anthems as the tokens of my gratitude, being rescued from the terrors of Theotokos. Inasmuch as you have power unassailable, from all kinds of perils free me, so that unto you I may cry aloud, rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the first ikos. A prince of the angels was sent from heaven to say to the Theotokos, rejoice. And beholding you, O Lord, embodied, he was astounded and halted, and with his bodiless voice stood crying out to her thus, rejoice, you through whom the joy will shine forth. Rejoice, through whom the curse is abolished henceforth. Rejoice, recalling of the fallen Adam. Rejoice, redemption of the tears of Eve. Rejoice, height hard to climb by mortal surmise. Rejoice, depth hard to plumb for even angelic eyes. Rejoice, for you are a throne for the King. Rejoice, for you carry the one who carries all things. Rejoice, star that makes visible the sun. Rejoice, womb of divine incarnation. Rejoice, you through whom creation is created afresh. Rejoice, you through whom the Creator as a babe becomes flesh. Rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the second kondakion. And the B, because the holy woman perceived herself wholly pure, she boldly addressed Gabriel. It seems hard to my spirit to give admittance to the paradox of your utterance, for you foretell pregnancy from a seedless conception, crying, Alleluia. Then ikos number 2, the C. Calling to the ministering angel, the virgin sought to know unknown knowledge. From a pure womb, how can a son be born? Tell me. He spoke to her in fear, only crying out, rejoice, initiate of God's ineffable deliberation. Rejoice, assurance of men's silent supplication. Rejoice, beginning of Christ's marvels. Rejoice, O crowning of his gospel. Rejoice, heavenly ladder by which God did descend. Rejoice, bridge leading those from earth to heaven. Rejoice, wonder who is well known among angels. Rejoice, wound that is lamented by demons. Rejoice, for ineffably you gave birth to the light. Rejoice, for you revealed the mystery to no one outright. Rejoice, who surpass the knowledge of the wise. Rejoice, who illuminate the minds of the faithful. Rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the third kondakion, the D hymn. Divine power of the Most High then overshadowed her, untried in marriage, making her conceive, and her fruitful womb he revealed as a pleasant field for all wishing to harvest a yield of salvation through chanting thus, Alleluia. And then the third ikos hymn, the E hymn. Enclosing God within her womb, the Virgin hurried to Elizabeth. The unborn child of the latter, at once recognizing the greeting of the former, rejoiced, and springing as if singing, cried to the Theotokos, rejoice, vine with unwithering shoot. Rejoice, farm with untainted fruit. Rejoice, you who cultivate the cultivator loving mankind. Rejoice, you who grow in your garden, the gardener of our life. Rejoice, arable, yielding a bountiful stack of pity. Rejoice, table, wielding a plentiful stock of mercy. Rejoice, because you are furbishing a lush pasturage. Rejoice, because you are furnishing for souls an anchorage. Rejoice, accepted incense of mediation. Rejoice, the whole world's propitiation. Rejoice, goodwill of God towards mortals. Rejoice, free speech of mortals towards God. Rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the fourth kondakion, the F hymn. Feeling within himself a whirl of doubtful thoughts, prudent Joseph was disturbed, seeing that you were unmated, and suspecting a secret coupling, O blameless one. But on ascertaining that your conceiving was from the Holy Spirit, he exclaimed, Alleluia. And then the fourth ikos, the G hymn. God's incarnate presence, the angels sang in hymns. The shepherds heard, and running as though towards a shepherd, they saw him as a blameless lamb pastured in the womb of Mary, and hymning her they declaimed, Rejoice, mother of lamb and shepherd, rejoice, fold of sensible sheep, rejoice, buttress against invisible predators, rejoice, portress of the gates of paradise, rejoice because heaven exults with earth, rejoice because earth dances with the heavens, rejoice, loquacity of the apostles that cannot be struck dumb, rejoice, audacity of the victorious martyrs that cannot be overcome. Rejoice, solid fortification of faith. Rejoice, lucid indication of grace. Rejoice, through whom Hades has been stripped bare. Rejoice, through whom we have been clothed in glory. Rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the fifth kondakion, the H hymn. Having seen a star leading to God, wise men followed its brightness, and retaining it as a torch, searched with its aid for a mighty king. And when they attained the unattainable, they rejoiced, crying to him, Alleluia. And then the fifth ikos hymn, the I hymn. In the hands of the virgin, sons of the Chaldeans saw him who with his hands made men, and sensing him to be their master, even though he had taken on the form of a servant, they hastened to honor him with their gifts, and to cry to the Blessed Woman, Rejoice, mother of an unsetting star, rejoice, dawn of a mystic day, rejoice, who extinguish the furnace of duplicity, rejoice, who illumine the initiates of the Trinity, rejoice, who depose from rule an inhuman tyrant, rejoice, who expose to view Christ our mankind-loving Lord, rejoice, who liberate us from the pagan religion, rejoice, who extricate us from the clay of burdens. Rejoice, who quench the worship of fire. Rejoice, who deliver us from the flame of passions. Rejoice, leader of the faithful towards piety. Rejoice, breeder in all people of gaiety. Rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the sixth kondakion hymn, the J hymn. Journeying back to Babylon, having become God-bearing heralds, the wise men fulfilled your oracle, proclaiming you to everyone as the Christ, abandoning Herod as horrid, for he did not know how to chant Alleluia. And then the sixth ikos hymn, the K hymn. Kindling in Egypt the light of truth, you banished the darkness of falsehood. For Savior, the idols of that land, unable to withstand your strength, collapsed, and those who were delivered from them cried to the God-bearer, Rejoice, restitution of humans, rejoice, destitution of demons, rejoice, who patrol the ambages of trickery, rejoice, who control the image's treachery, rejoice, sea, slaughtering the Pharaoh of the mind, rejoice, rock, watering those thirsty for life, rejoice, pillar of fire, guiding those in darkness, rejoice, canopy of the world, broader than a cloud, rejoice, substituter of manna as food, rejoice, distributor of what is holy and good, rejoice, promised land, rejoice, from whom flow honey and milk, rejoice, O unwedded bride. And then the seventh kondakion hymn, the L hymn. Lord, when Simeon was about to be gone from this present deceitful eon, you were given to him as an infant, but you were recognized by him even as perfect God, wherefore he was astonished at your ineffable wisdom, crying, Alleluia. Okay, so this is a lot. What I want to point out as we go through this is, in general, what we get in the Akathist hymn is the application of scriptural imagery, especially Old Testament imagery, to the Virgin Mary and to Christ our God, her Son. So we use this, our meditation on the events of the Incarnation in this first half of the Akathist hymn, as also a meditation on the prophecies that foretold the coming of the Lord. Second, we have always within this, with the rejoices, their pairs. So rejoice, you who from the joy will shine forth. rejoice through whom the curse is abolished. So we're comparing and contrasting joy and the curse. And then in the next, rejoice, recalling of the fallen Adam, rejoice, redemption of the tears of Eve. So we're contrasting Adam and Eve. And then in the next, we get a height and a depth. We get the throne for the king and the one who, and carrying the one who carries all things. Then we contrast the star and the womb. We contrast the one through whom the creation is created, and then with the Creator as a babe become flesh. So this pattern, looking at the contrasts, is a fertile opportunity to view the breadth and the length and the depth and the height of God's mercy and glory and love for us. Third, and I think the last thing, there are different speakers throughout. So we begin with Gabriel speaking, and then the Virgin responds, and then Gabriel answers her again, and then we, in the third Kondakion, we get a narrative that the divine power of the Most High overshadowed her. She conceived, and then the third, we see her go to Elizabeth, and then the unborn child of Elizabeth springs up, and now we have words put in the mouth of the forerunner. And then we have Joseph doubting in the next Kondakion, and then and then he's reassured. So then in the next Ikos, we have the shepherds singing out "Rejoice" to the Virgin Mary. And then in the Kondakion, we see the wise men crying out Alleluia, and then continuing in the fifth Ikos, the wise men, the Chaldeans, are crying out. As an aside here, the language that they are using is especially celebrating their deliverance from Zoroastrianism, from the worship of Ahura Mazda, of fire, of duplicity. Rejoice who extinguished the furnace of duplicity. Zoroastrianism is a dualistic religion. And then we have the other contrast, rejoice who illumine the initiates of the Trinity. So they lay aside the dualism, the good God, bad God of Zoroastrianism, and instead receive the one God in three persons, not in conflict but in unity. So the Magi cry out to the Virgin Mary, and then they cry out Alleluia in the Kondakion as they abandon Herod. And then finally, we have the Egyptians, those delivered from the idols when the Lord goes into Egypt and the idols all collapse. They cry out to the Virgin Mary, celebrating and recounting all the events of the Exodus, which now they are made partakers in. And then finally, Simeon cries out, Alleluia, to the Lord. So anyway, there's a lot more we could say, but the Akathist hymn, if we want to see how the fathers of the church read the Old Testament and see the Virgin Mary present there, herself as the fulfillment of every prophecy in the Old Testament about Israel herself bearing and bringing into the world the Lord's salvation, the Akathist hymn is our place to be. So we'll read the other two stanzas next week. For now, God bless you all. We'll see you shortly for day 3.